Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day today. My name is Olivia. Yeah, as you can hear, hopefully you can hear, I got a mic. Do not like this mic, can't stand it, but I've had people say that it's hard to hear what I have to say because I'm kind of soft spoken sometimes. But trying to get a new bike potentially. Find one that I like because I don't like this one. It kind of sounds like it's kind of muffled or something. But something that I wanted to talk about today was I think a group thinkers, when people group think, I think the biggest opposition or the biggest op is a critical thinker. I think independent thoughts threaten conformity, it threatens uniformity. I think conformity fears questioning, uniformity fears questioning. It fears different thoughts, different perspectives, different opinions. And I think the easiest way to become an outcast, the easiest way to be isolated by people who have this herd, this group thinking mentality is to have an opinion that is different from others. Not only have an opinion, a perspective, a thought, just that is different from others, but don't let it make sense. Don't actually be, don't let it be, critical thinking that is actually correct or smart or intelligent. Because, you're going to get outcasted very, very fast. I feel like a lot of people desire in uniformity. They want you to be harmonious. They want you all to be the same. And like I said, I think people who are like that, that just all think the same, act the same, talk the same, walk the same, dress the same, just everything. The biggest person that is going to oppose that is someone who's critical thinking, someone who speaks up, someone who cannot be controlled. It's like I gave it the analogy of everyone eats steak, but you bring chicken to the table, or you bring a salad to the table, just something different from what everybody else is used to eating and digesting. And then say you bring chicken or salad to the table, not only do you bring something different, but you explain the benefits and the opinions and a different perspective of why it's good or why it's beneficial or why it's something that you should try, or it just opens up your mind and your palate to something different. Yeah, they coming for your neck. Me personally, everything was fine in life. Everything was fine when I was naive, when I didn't know no better, when I went along with what everyone thought, didn't have no thoughts of my own, did whatever my friends wanted to do, I did it. Yeah, that didn't change, so I started thinking for myself and critical thinking and just having different perspectives on life and opinions on things. And like I said, don't let it be right or don't let it make sense because yeah, they coming for your neck. The it's not deep crowd, the everything isn't about color or racism crowd, or you're too woke crowd, I don't see color crowd, just anybody that got like that surface level thinking. Yeah, I have found out very fast that I get outcasted quickly, swiftly from those kinds of mentalities, that herd mentality where everyone just thinks the same. I don't stay long. I don't last long. I withdraw myself very quickly because I feel like people do not like someone who is not subjected to group thinking. People do not like someone who just is a yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, yes, no sir, kind of in thoughts and opinions and perspectives. When you don't think like this, you become very difficult to be around. You instantly have a target on your back. You are outcasted. You are isolated on purpose because people don't want you around. People start doing all kinds of crazy things to just get for you to just go away, basically. And I feel like some people, some groups, this group thinking mentality, herd mentality, they prioritize conforming, they prioritize uniformity, everybody looking, thinking, talking, walking, dressing the same, everything across the board, like a very harmonious kind of group. They prioritize that rather than actual critical thinking and using your brain. Simply just thinking, using your God given brain, coming up with a different perspective, maybe from someone else that doesn't look like you, a different opinion, a different thought, and You do not become an asset. You do not become something valuable to people like that who have this herd mentality. You become a liability on how the group thinks, and you threaten the whole mental stagnation, the herd mentality, the uniformity. You just threaten that all together because people do not like people that they cannot control. People actually, it is not dislike. It's actually, I feel like it's more so hatred than anything. People hate people who they cannot control. And I said this before, when they can no longer control you, they will control the perception of you, which is a whole nother topic. But because of that, you become this like unknown just piece to the whole environment. It's like someone, it's like your body when you're sick, it has a virus, and then your body will attack the virus to get the virus out of your body. Or like a computer, when a computer has a virus, you do all kinds of stuff to get rid of the virus from inside. And I feel like when you just critical think, when you just think for yourself, you become a threat to like the herd, someone who thinks differently, not just only a different opinion, but just has the audacity to speak up, has the audacity to speak for themselves. That many people who are in uniform groups, who are conforming to specific groups, who just simply are in a herd mentality, they're not allowed to do that. And you're doing something that they're not allowed to do. And unfortunately, what I have noticed is that people would rather go to great lengths to kill you than rather accept or develop a new understanding of thought, a new perspective, just a new opinion. Just like I said, that snow globe, you pick it up, you just don't look at it from one angle. You like doing a 360. Yeah, people don't want to do that. And when you start critical thinking, you start shattering the idea that everyone is in agreement, that everyone thinks the same, that walk the same, talks the same, dresses the same, just across the board. You shatter the perception that everyone is in agreement. Because then you start asking why, or not even why, you're bringing different things to the table that people aren't used to digesting and eating. And it causes a lot of discomfort. It causes a lot of anger because people are now seeing things that they don't want to see because they're so used to conforming. It causes a lot of conflict, is what I have noticed too. I've also noticed that there's also in these, when you have this herd mentality, when people just group think, there's like a pressure to conform too. Individuals often have to suppress their own thoughts, their own perspectives, their own opinions to avoid being outcasts. Because I'm sure, they see one person who spoke up, thought for themselves, said something different. Okay, yeah. What do people do? They cast them out, they ridicule them, they go after them, try to kill them in all different types of way in every aspect of who that person is. And they probably think to themselves, okay, so if I think for myself, this is what's going to happen to me. And so what happens is I think there is like this pressure to conform. People are too scared to speak out because they don't want to be outcast. They don't want to be that lone independent voice all by themselves because a lot of people I think are scared to be alone, honestly, and they do not want to give up their comfort because they know giving up speaking out or speaking up for themselves or saying something different from what everyone thinks, that's going to cause conflict, that's going to cause discomfort, this is going to be everything that I'm not used to because I'm used to conforming and being happy and doing what everybody says, being a yes ma'am, no man, yes sir, no sir kind of person, and I speak up, there's going to be consequences. And I think people know that and they don't want to go through the consequences of speaking up and thinking for yourselves and just critical thinking overall. I feel like most people have very low, I'm not saying, I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of people do not have a lot of critical thinking skills. A lot of people can't even think for themselves. They let the internet do all the thinking, Chat GPT or whatever it's called, AI or the other things that people be using, which is a whole nother topic for me. They let their friends do their thinking. They let family do their thinking of what they want, what they don't want out of life, what I should do, what I shouldn't do. And it's like they're never making decisions or thinking for themselves at all. And when people see you who is making decisions for yourself, who is thinking for themselves, who is speaking up about something, who is um, not suppressing their voice, speaking out, thinking for yourself, not going along with what everybody else thinks or the kind of this uniformity, you become quote unquote crazy. You're the crazy one. You're the problem. You're the villain. Oh my Lord. Good grief, have I just felt the energy from that of being, it's her. It's her. She's the villain. She's the problem. She's the antagonist. She. Yeah. Yeah, I've felt that energy. It's her. She's the problem. She's crazy. She's deranged. She's the issue. It's her. People start finding ways to get rid of you. People start finding ways to outcast you, to isolate you, to just kill you across the board. And I made a video about this. I said that I personally think that the goal of a hate train is suicide. And you can go back to that video where I talked about that. I think it is. I think people want to just get rid of you across the board. Physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, just go. But I've realized that, back to what I'm saying, questioning just how everybody thinks, questioning, bringing a new perspective, a new opinion, just a new thought to a group of people who do not want to think for themselves, who just are like herds, just like things, like Dr. Seuss. You got thing one, thing two, thing three, thing four, thing five, just everybody's a thing. When you bring a new perspective to people like that who cannot speak, who cannot think for themselves, um, this uniformity, everybody's conforming to what we accept, what we don't accept, just everybody's just the same. Questioning that or just bringing something different to the table really becomes a problem. It doesn't even have to be you creating your own narrative, your own story. It's simply just the fact that you had the audacity to speak up. It's simply the fact that you had the audacity to ask questions, simply because you had the fact to just bring a new perspective and it actually makes sense. Like I said, people don't like it when you bring something new to the table and it opens up their eyes and it makes sense and they can't ridicule it, they can't shut it down. There's no disputing what you're saying. People don't like that either. Like, that takes it to a whole nother. They already don't like that, the fact that you're speaking up and that you're saying something. They really don't like it when it actually makes sense too. And it actually applies and it's actually intelligent and it's actually smart. And it's like, which is a whole nother subject. I could go on. But because of that, when you start just being different from how everybody else thinks, this whole group thinking, this herd mentality, people will begin to start finding, like I said, ways to destroy you, ways to kill you, ways to hate you. And I'm just saying right now to anyone who's watching this and is getting like those little gut intuitions, those little inklings that people are starting to do, people are starting to change their opinion about you, not in a good way, because what you're saying, what you're thinking, just using your brain, critical thinking, just get ready now. Just get ready now. Just get ready for the tests, get ready for the ridicule, get ready to be an outcast, get ready to be put in isolation, get ready to people to come for your throat, your neck, just trying to take you down. Because when you're someone who critical thinks a lot, who just has different perspectives, who looks at life like it's a snow globe and turns it and looks at it from different perspectives, opinions, angles, all that, who uses their voice, who says something, uses their voice frequently, uses their voice and it makes sense. People don't like that. The system don't like that. Uniformity, people don't like that. When you people that are harmoniously all one, they're all the same, all just like I said, they like things in Dr. Seuss, I think Cat in the Hat. They don't like that. They don't like that at all. Jobs don't like that. People don't like that. Your friends don't like that. Your family doesn't like that. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't like that. And people only like people that can be controlled, unfortunately. Once you can't be controlled, get ready. Get ready, because they coming. Because like I said, when you become uncontrollable, yeah, there's going to be a lot of things coming your way that you wouldn't, I don't know necessarily you wouldn't be expecting, but maybe you wouldn't be expecting because you feel like you're not deserving of it, because maybe you feel like, oh, what I have to say makes sense, or I thought you would want to hear what I have to say. Not everybody's going to feel that way, babe. Not everybody's going to want to hear what you have to say. Not everybody is going to want to, you uncover their eyes from all the things that they have been settling for, all the things that they have been conforming to. Not everybody's going to be happy about that. No. And they coming for you. They're not coming for what you said. They just coming for you because you had the audacity to say it, and they're coming for you as a person altogether. And like I said, I think think people who just group think, I think their biggest opponent is just, or opposition is just the uncomfortable truth that contradicts what everybody thinks, and the audacity for someone to say it, the audacity for someone to bring a new perspective, a new thought, and a new opinion into this space where we all think the same. Someone who speaks up, someone who uses their brain, who good grief doesn't use the internet 24/7 or chat GPT. They doing their own research for themselves. Just I feel like that is one of, people who think like that, the biggest, um what is he doing? The biggest um opposition to that. Group thinkers, people who group think, this herd mentality, they prioritize harmony, they prioritize this feeling of safety, they prioritize this feeling of uniformity, conforming to what we all think. You can have no thought besides this. They prioritize this mentality, rather than the different deep thinkers, the people that critical think, the people that process stuff, the people that pattern recognize, the people that analyze every single angle. I think they prioritize uniformity rather than independent thoughts. They prioritize conforming rather than the truth, rather than accuracy, just rather than anything, just different too. And I'm just saying, you just gotta, if you gonna start thinking for yourself, just be careful. Not saying that you gotta quiet and silence yourself and suppress yourself. I'm not saying that, but you just need to prepare yourself for what happens. I did prepare yourself. I had to prepare myself for what was gonna happen when I started speaking up and saying stuff and saying things that people don't want to say, and having those hard conversations that people didn't want to hear and people aren't used to having, because they like to have blindfolds over their eyes, and if I ignore it, it's not happening, kind of thing. Yeah, people don't like me because I be talking about all kinds of stuff, just stuff that needs to be said, needs to be heard. And, like I said, taking those blinders off people's eyes to stuff that they've been trying to ignore for so long. And yeah, being kicked out, isolated, outcast, becoming a threat to just conforming to uniformity, all those things. And I feel like when you just start critical thinking, when you start processing for yourself, you are going to be like the ultimate op. You're going to be an op to a conformist environment, to an environment that thrives off uniformity, that thrives off conforming, silencing yourself, that thrives off, we all think the same, we all talk the same, we all act the same, we all walk the same, just across the board. And I'm just saying that, just from someone who has went through it, just don't allow what people are going to throw your way to stop you from what needs to be said, or those hard conversations that needs to be heard. Because if you keep on silencing and suppressing yourself, or not having these hard conversations, or you don't want to speak out about certain things, talk about things that are important, those things will continue to repeat itself. Those things will continue to thrive, because you know it thrives when you don't call stuff out. Stuff is swept under the rug, stuff is not discussed. And I think it's just good to have those hard conversations, because then it just shows different perspectives, it shows growth, it shows different opinions. It shows different thoughts. You learn something from those hard conversations sometimes. You really do. You know, you're not stuck in that stagnant mentality, that herd mentality where everyone thinks the same and they talk the same and walk the same and act the same. But that was just something that I wanted to share today. It's like, I don't know, that's the military time. I don't know. I'm not doing the math right now. I hope everyone has a fantastic day. And you know, keep thinking. Keep critical thinking. Keep using that noggin, that brain, that computer that you got in your head. Yeah. Just hope everyone has a fantastic day today. Y'all stay safe out there. Yeah, and I'll see you guys next time.